Greetings, beautiful people. Welcome to the National Parent Leadership Institute's Art Heals Conversations. This is a part of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation's National Day of Racial Healing, and we are honored to be in partnership with them and others throughout our nation who are addressing this important issue that desires to be healed. We are grounding ourselves and centering our definition of racial healing in Kellogg's definition. Racial healing is the experience shared by people when they speak openly and hear the truth about past wrongs and the negative impacts created by individual and systemic racism. Racial healing helps to build trust among people and restores communities to wholeness so they can work together on changing current systems and structures so that they affirm the inherent value of all people. Today, we have gathered some artists in our NPLI community and partnerships to talk with them about their experiences interconnecting art and racial healing. I am thrilled to welcome each and every one of them to this conversation. I would like to begin with Dr. Graham. Tokeya, can you start with sharing your name and anything you'd like to share with how you identify culturally?
First of all, thank you so much, Donna, for welcoming me into the space. My name is Tokeya C. Graham. I use she, her pronouns. I'm an educator. I'm a child of the universe. I'm a Black woman first and foremost. I pride myself as being one with nature. I'm an artist. I'm a writer. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. But most of all, I consider myself a beneficial presence. And it is my joy as well as my duty to move through this world, making it better than it was when I found it. So again, thank you for welcoming me into the space.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for having me. My name is Apparicio. I identify as a Black man from a Trinidadian American heritage. As a first-generation immigrant, it is my duty, my pleasure to support those that are just really, really not thought of and not really supported how they needed to be. I am a fiance, a dad, a dadvocate, big on making sure that we're supporting the reentry population, big on community over competition, and understanding that your network is your net worth. So let's continue to build and be wealthy together.
Hola, mi nombre es Betty Sánchez. Yo me considero una mujer de color, una poeta migrante, México-estadounidense. Soy madre, abuela, bisabuela, educadora, artista y defensora de los derechos humanos y la justicia lingüística.
Welcome, all of you. And I am a woman of African descent who actually gives thanks for that. I am a mother. Before that, I am in partnership in love and life with my beloved husband, Anthony. We love that we had the opportunity to be the parents for Brittany Louise Tucker, who is now with the ancestors. And we are raising her daughter as she is our granddaughter, but as a daughter, she is 9 and full of life and love and has an 18-year-old kind of brother uncle and our wonderful son, who also is just full of wonder and life, and they bring us joy daily. And because of them, I'm a parent leader. I'm excited that I can share that I am a parent leader and a graduate of Bridgeport PLTI, class of 2017. And because of my experience through my lens, I know the power of art. I have been able to embrace, experience, see, hear, in all beautiful forms. And I have found that art in these different forms can not only encourage, but can make possible racial healing. And so I'm excited to hear from you or to see with you your creative art that you would like to share not only with us in this conversation, but we believe that we hope members of the nation are going to be tuning in for this National Day of Racial Healing, but we also believe in global citizenship. So I'm hoping that your art goes far and wide. And so I'm going to ask you first, Tokeya, to please share a sample of your creative art expression.
So, as you look around the room, I am a visual artist. I used to have a shaved head, and I did a series of paintings of myself. Self-portraits are us. And so, everything that you see around me, that's a bald-headed person, that is me painting. And I did do one of an older friend of mine with some hair. But now that I have hair, I guess I have to do a new series. So, I have a very artistic family, and we cover all of the art. So, painting for me was a way during the pandemic for me to be able to express myself. I had a lot of feelings, as well as when I had my breast cancer journey, I was able to express. I was already bald. I didn't lose any hair, but it made it more sympathetic looking. But I find that, I also like to express my art through the way that I look, the way that I style my hair, the way that I do my makeup, my glasses. And so I think that I am the walking embodiment of art. But for this, I want to show my visual. I also have a book, The Black Healing Pot Project, but I want to share some poetry with you. I'm an English professor, so I'm excited about hearing folks' works. I'm hoping that I can share those with my students too. So this is a two-part, very short poem. One part of it is in the book The Black Healing Project. So it's Black Don't Crack and Black Like Me. I'm dealing with a little bit of a cough, so I need to make sure that I'm in full voice. Black don't crack, or so I've been told. Skin stays smooth, never growing old. But spirits get battered, the face is a mask. Broken inside, yet beauty holds fast. Black don't crack, but sometimes it bends. It hides, cajoles, covers, pretends. Society says that black is a curse, the mark of the beast, the treatment is worse. Black don't crack, but what does it mean? You can treat us like dirt, but keep your hands clean, 'cause the damage don't show on the outside of skin. But under we bleed, we shatter within. Black don't crack is the biggest untruth. It shrivels, it dies from killing its roots. It crumbles, it withers, it's discarded in pieces. Black don't crack, but it show enough creases. Black like me. When you say black, you mean an abyss, a gaping nothingness, a lack, a blank page, starless sky, dreamless sleep, a loss of hope. You mean miserable, morose, woeful, death, and despair. But my black has got layers, magic, especially when nothing seems to be there. By any other name, inky, jet, midnight, sulfur, onyx, obsidian, tar, ebony, raven, sable, negro, noir, my black is beautiful. My black is sky-high froze, fist picks, freedom roads, grandma's hands, sojourner's path, night-lit stars, the ancestors' wrath, seasoned skillets, patent leather Mary Janes, heading north on the first train. My black is licorice sweet, double Dutch ropes on concrete. My black is fluid, diasporic, a song yet sung, euphoric. My thoughts are black and righteous and free. My people are black, resplendent, chosen, just like me. Thank you.
If we were in the poetry room, it would be snaps up, definitely. Thank you, beautiful Tokeya. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Andre, celebrate my mistake. I had gone out of order in the intro, so I want to pick up the order and hear Betty bringing in another language into this flow, and then you won't be last because you're definitely going to keep us going, all right? Betty, beautiful, what would you share with us?
Yo sé que la poesía es un poco difícil de traducir al momento, así que tengo una versión apresurada, una traducción que puedo compartir con ustedes más tarde, pero este es mi poema que voy a compartir con ustedes. La vida no cabe en el lenguaje cuando la indignación y la impotencia anidan en el corazón. Hay palabras que se resisten a ser pronunciadas, se enroscan en la punta de la lengua para no convertirse en queja, maldición, conjuro. Pero en la diáspora, mi patria es la lengua materna. Después de todo, ¿qué soy? Sino un repositorio de historias propias y ajenas, un compendio de lo que sucedió antes de mí, de lo que se está gestando y de lo que aún no es. Un cáliz que resguarda traumas generacionales, sueños, migraciones, miedos. No soy una mujer, soy todas las mujeres. Mi cuerpo es el cuerpo de las demás, las muertas, las desaparecidas. Diferente piel, las mismas heridas y cicatrices. No hay ausencia de una sin vestigios de la otra. De esa retacería de vidas entrelazadas surgen otras voces que no pueden ser silenciadas, permutan en poemas de testimonio, como trinos de ave en campo abierto denuncian y amplifican lo olvidado, entretejen la memoria colectiva, cuentan la historia sin narrativas inventadas, exigen la sucesión interminable de destierro, sin tierra, desarraigo, sin raíces, desventaja, que se traduce en exclusión e inequidad, deshumanización, desplazo forzado. El lenguaje hace aparecer las cosas que no tienen nombre, condena las prácticas falsas de restauración, resignifica territorios, cuerpos, historias y vidas, y la necesidad de crear la contraparte del racismo, una cultura de paz que nos permita reencontrarnos, reinventarnos, pero sobre todo reconciliarnos en comunidad.
Wow. The story and the demand. Wow. We're going to come back to both of your poems. Andre, definitely last but not least, please, in terms of your art form, please share with us.
Thank you. Wow. I don't have a poem for you. I'm a storyteller, but I tell no lies. I believe you don't need to have a book to tell a story, and that's one of the first lies that they tell. And so a lot of the things that I do in my art and my work is to get people to understand that using art to support the community is probably one of the best things we can do for racial equity. It gives us a tool because yes, we have voices, but if nobody's listening, sometimes we need to get those tools and take those things a step further. And so as some individual that's formerly incarcerated and so always supporting those like myself, when I was released and spent a lot of time just getting myself together afterwards, I ended up writing a book. And this book was called My Emancipation from Incarceration, Reform, Relearn, Reentry. And I'll just read it from the back. And it says, after serving time in the county jail and state prison, Andre realized the worst facility he was ever housed in wasn't a correctional facility. It was in his own thoughts. 10 years later, he's an advocate, strategist, business owner, and community leader. Andre has highlighted some of the essential conversations and strategies he used to offset this meltdown, this mental lockdown. When there's no one in your courtroom but you facing you, who shall set you free? I always tell people, I know there's plenty of people there's more people incarcerated in their minds than actual in physical prisons. And a lot of that incarceration, a lot of that sentencing starts when you're just in grade school. And so we have to realize is that with anything else, in order for us to know these stories, you have to tell their story. I know a lot of the times in my community, being able to share things and share stories and share what's going on is frowned upon. It's looked upon as something that just shouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. I know we always say, what happens in the house stays in the house. But what happens when the house starts to pour out into the street? I encourage you all to continue to do what you need to do, continue to use your form of art to get out there and get across the way. This book in itself has done so much just for me personally. Even when I felt I lost my own way, I used my book to get it back. And so this is one of the things that, I am bringing to the table. And what I really encourage everyone to do is to make sure that they understand that your story is not too short or too long. And somebody needs to hear it.
Thank you, Andre. And so, Andre, you get the first question. what role, and you started to talk about this, but I just want to give you a little bit more opportunity to share, what role does your art form, as you said, you are a storyteller that tells no lies, and other artists within your community? You are currently in New Orleans, but you've been in other beautiful communities as well. But how does art impact community building or dialogues around race? And if you have used your book, please share.
I think that art plays a powerful role in the community. It kind of allows you to speak from the heart without having to defend your position. I think a lot of the times we kind of get caught up in our thoughts and our ways because we're trying to explain ourselves, but then also we're trying to defend what we're saying. And with art, you don't have that. I get to sit down and write my story how it is without worrying about who's judging me, without worrying about if the story is going to offend anybody, without worrying about any of those things. And so I have used my art form to actually help others. My book was placed in local prisons. I actually sent it to some of my friends that was formerly incarcerated and had them start like a little mini book club with my book. And what it actually created was what I thought was one of the first. I know we do a lot of outreach work in the community, but I told them that I need some in-reach workers. I need those that are in reach to the individuals that I need to communicate with. And I sent numerous books. And when I first dropped my book, I actually allowed you to create a list of individuals that may be incarcerated and sending me those jails. And we sent over 50, 60 books to different jails all across this country. And so it was one of those things for me where it was like, wow, you hear about people always saying, oh, you got a great story, you should write a book, you should write a book. But I also wanted to make a book that I wanted for myself, that I would read myself.
Awesome.
And I wanted to be impactful, I wanted to be straight to the point, but also I wanted people to hear my words. And I think that when you read my book and you meet me, you hear me more. And so that was just my goal. I didn't want to write a book and then people like, who wrote this for him? This doesn't even sound like him. No, you're gonna get the real. You're gonna get the real. And so like I feel like with this type of situation and with the art forms in themselves, it really gives people the opportunity to just share with no judgment. And the moment I was able to sit back and just write my book, not saying I want to write this book to reach this person, I want to write this book to reach that person, I want to write this book to do this type of work. I said, no, I want to get this story down. And if this story goes, then it goes. And sort of something like this, you realize that alignments and assignments is real things, and that we're all in this big world, this puzzle, and we're just putting those pieces together. So I think that art does that. Art brings pieces that aren't normally put together, and be able to create even more of a landscape for more of those individuals to be involved in.
Wow, thank you. Tokeya, I know that you are part of a vibrant community in Rochester, New York, and beyond. So I'm curious how you have used art. You alluded to it, I think, and you were initially sharing, but use your art and maybe the art of others to build community and to even have dialogues around race, because we know that you also have vast experience and expertise in terms of racial equity, inclusion, and belonging. So how have you used art in that process in community?
So I'm a child of the arts. I've always been encouraged to write, started publishing poetry as early as 6th grade and really wanted to pursue becoming an educator, specifically in the discipline of English. So I have the benefit of being trusted and being a strong community messenger. So I'm able to build community wherever I am, and I use art as that medium. In my classroom, I teach composition, literature, and creative writing. I always encourage my students to own their own narrative. You don't have to get validation externally. And I think that we live in a culture, especially when the dominant narrative suggests that there is one story and it needs to be this. And we hear it from, the people who seem to be in control, right? But what I want to encourage my students and other people who are in community with my art is that your voice matters. And we think of voice as only being your spoken voice. But, we have sign language, we have utterances. I come from a culture, the beat poets, and making sure we say, you give somebody a side eye, the way that you walk in the room and everybody, Those sorts of things, those physical movements also communicate art. So when you're talking about coming from a people who've been disenfranchised and disconnected and historically excluded, we've had to take some liberties with our art to keep it underground because expressing ourselves could have meant the loss of our lives. But we have fabric, we have hairstyles, we have food, we have means and ways of communicating with each other, a head nod on the street, a pause when we see each other. So for me, I aim to be the embodiment of my historical inheritance, right? So when you see me, you see everybody that comes before me, my ancestors and my ancestors, right? So I've had the benefit of creating a Black women's writing collective, We All Write, and we've performed all over New York State, historical, Seneca Falls, combining artistic expression along with education, because many of us are educators as well, but really wanting people to see that you can use art to heal from racial trauma. With my Black Healing Project, we've been doing virtual, hybrid, and in-person craft and coloring nights, right? So I started coloring, watching TikTok, getting a TikTok degree. So you don't always have to produce art. You can participate in art. You can go to a play. I have a partnership with a local theater company, and we go to see plays. And seeing someone else on stage experiencing something can be very cathartic. So you might not have the voice or the words, you might not have a book, you might not have a stage or a page, but you go and you experience something else. So for me, art has always been a way to build community. It communicates expression, it communicates history. And if you produce your art and if you put it somewhere, then it's part of a time capsule. It becomes a historical document. It becomes something that somebody generations from now can live on and listen to and know that you were here, right? It's an artifact. And so art is a form of resist. I don't want to start teaching, but art is art. I'm about to start, but really, I just feel like we don't, not just compensate artists enough, but we don't understand the ways that artists are the protesters. They are the movement stirrers, the shakers, the movers, the uppers, the downers, and the connectors. And so I want people to really embrace, and you don't have to make quote unquote whatever good art is. People get so caught up in being critiqued and, oh, my stuff isn't good enough. Oh, they sound better than me. So what? You own your art and you put it out in the ways that you got to get free. And if you're doing it for freedom and healing, you do it however you need to do, from coloring to dancing to chanting to humming to, moving your body in ways, making jewelry, anything that you need to do to get your artistic expression out, because we are art.
I love that. We are art. Thank you, Tokeya. That's a Dr. Graham drop right there. We are art. And Betty, with that in mind, what role does your art or even other art that you share in community play in community building and also dialogues around race and cultural identity?
Bueno, yo creo que el arte en todas sus manifestaciones es una herramienta que nos permite abordar y exponer nuestras experiencias a la mirada de los demás. Aunque estas experiencias surgen a partir del yo individual, el arte, la poesía, en todas sus expresiones, la danza, la fotografía, la pintura, estas nos conectan a la memoria y a las vivencias colectivas. Además, por medio del arte visibilizamos nuestra identidad y sobre todo el arte promueve el diálogo intercultural y el reconocimiento de problemáticas racistas. También el arte genera participación comunitaria o ciudadana, porque si alguien se conecta con mi poema, con una pintura, con una danza, con una imagen, ahí se produce un intercambio de saberes que nos permite relacionarnos con los demás de una manera más humana. En el campo poético hay una forma que llamamos artivismo. Usamos nuestro arte como una manera de activismo para promover la equidad, para la inclusión, la diversidad. Usamos los eventos cotidianos para dejar poesía de testimonio para generaciones por venir puedan ver lo que estaba sucediendo en nuestro hoy y ahora. Entonces, el arte es muy importante para dar testimonio, para dejar un archivo, un historial de lo que está sucediendo, cómo lo enfrentamos y cómo lo estamos abordando desde nuestro yo individual y como colectivo.
Wow. Artifacts, leaving something behind. You have all said the importance of that, having something concrete in some format for people to be able to say, we were here. We were here. And the very essence of who we are is art. So I have to ask then, Betty, starting with you, what would be your hope for how communities accomplish racial equity and inclusion to actually create an atmosphere for racial healing in an authentic sense of belonging? What will be your hope?
Para mí, el racismo es una violencia desde el exterior hacia nuestra persona, nuestra integridad. Es un sistema de opresión que nos deshumaniza. Mi esperanza para lograr equidad racial es participar en un proceso de cambio, un proceso de una cultura de violencia a una cultura de paz, que solo se logra empezando con nosotros mismos, de adentro hacia afuera, lo cual promueve o fomenta una participación comprometida como colectividad, usando nuestros bienes intelectuales, nuestra experiencia, nuestras habilidades y experiencia de vida, entablando diálogos constructivos que generen consensos y acuerdos. Podemos construir nuevos imaginarios con acciones concretas, no solo de palabra, que nos lleven a recuperar la dignidad porque nos la han arrebatado de diferentes maneras, con diferentes formas de racismo. Y también podemos lograr reivindicación cultural, social y política. Y puedo imaginar una sociedad mejor si esta está centrada en una pluralidad de visiones con un fin determinado que es lograr la inclusión y un sistema o un sentido de pertenencia.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Betty. Andre, what is your hope for how communities, your community and others, might accomplish racial equity and inclusion? One, to create an atmosphere for racial healing and a true sense of belonging.
I think that we just have to stop treating this as if it's like some program that's going to save and really base it on relationships, base it on shared power. One individual acknowledging there's a lot of power in a lot of spaces that many people can't reach, and that shouldn't be. And what that looks like. I think that, like I was saying, going back to programs without policy, like I've been saying, just really it's kind of half the battle. It's kind of like when I was younger, they told me you could be anything you want to be. And I went home and I was like, yeah, I could be anything I want to be. And I went and I told my mom, like, yeah, they said I could be anything I want to be. And I'm telling that story. And I said, I'm going to be a basketball player. And I never woke up to practice. I never did that. So telling me I could be anything I want to be is great, but also including the fact that you can be anything you want to be when you work towards it. And so, yes, we can be a society that reflects and mirrors how majority of the people really feel, but we have to do the work. And my hope is that people will allow people to do the work. People will allow people to be in those positions to do the work and understand that and look at art for what it is. Art is continuously telling those stories. When I see even just quote unquote graffiti on the walls, or my son, he's an artist. I mean, I have nice big white walls. He shows me his talents every couple of weeks. And what he's saying to me is, hey, Dad, I want to color. I want to draw. But being that you haven't provided me with the proper station to do it, I will do it myself. And that's what's happening with the community. We are crashing in. We are writing. The writings are on the walls. People are just there to clean them up. Sometimes we have to read that writing on the wall, see what it is, see what it's saying, and understand where our role is, in playing in that. So my hope is that we can all not only just base it on policy, but also make those relationships and build those connections.
Wow. And the final word for this segment, again, definitely not least, Dr. Graham, what would be your hope for how communities accomplish racial equity and inclusion to create not only a true sense of belonging, but a space where racial healing can actually take place?
So I know that we need to tell the truth. And what has happened is that we see people who are in positions of power, they've been able to mask and pantomime and hide the truth and rewrite it in many cases. So we need the people from historically excluded populations to come together and tell their own stories to each other. Because what is happening is that we're building these walls and these silos of division because everyone thinks that everyone else is the enemy, right? But we have this power structure in the United States that is not they're not the global majority at all. But what has happened is we keep feeding this machine is that, oh, we have this hierarchy and this stratification that, oh, my trauma is worse than yours, or you don't really belong here. We got here first. Our story is, and this and that, but we don't connect the dots between our shared pain. So we have to be the truth, tell the truth about what happened. And there can be many versions of the truth, right? There's not one capital truth only. And there's some subtle nuances. And we have to have a power redistribution. There needs to be reparation. There needs to be spaces and places for art and education. We need books. We need adequate housing. We need all of these things because I can't fight the movement when I'm hungry or I'm lying on the street and I don't have enough books. And we can't, manufacture human connection. Robots are not going to build art in the ways that people do or build communities in the ways that people do. So when we talk about racial healing, we always need the people. We need the children, we need adults, we need the elders, we need intergenerational communities. We need all different sorts of bodies. We need people who have been previously incarcerated. We need people who have substance use disorders. We have people who are non-binary. We need people on social services. It is very easy for the haves to be in control. It is very easy for the haves to talk about healing and moving on when their cups are full and their tanks are full and their bellies are full. But what we really need to do is come together. We need to see the things that are missing, and we need to find ways for everyone to have the things that they need in the ways that they want. Everybody doesn't want the same thing. And so we need art, we need music, we need water, we need air, we need fire, we need light, we need love. But most of all, we need each other.
I love it. The people. I just want you to know I am very grateful for having an opportunity to be able to talk with people. I know that AI and I know that robots and all of this advancement in technology can be used for good at times, but your piece and all of you have shared, it is the people, it is the heartbeat, it is the art, it is the movement, it is the resistance, it is the persistence of the people that actually will make the difference that we need and believe can happen. On behalf of the entire team of the National Parent Leadership Institute, I am so grateful that you have decided to be a part of this Art Heals conversation with us. I believe that those in the network of W.K. Kellogg Foundation who are also doing their National Day of Racial Healing today will also be inspired by all of you. And it is my desire that this will go far and wide, that people will get to have the joy that I have experienced by being able to engage in conversation, to listen, and to learn with you. I want to encourage you to keep on doing the divine thing. I am so grateful for your art expression that you have given to us today, but that you also give to the world. And most especially, I celebrate you for your persistence and your resistance in the face of all types of challenges in this thing called life. You each have alluded to something that has caused a direct challenge to your pathway, but yet you had the audacity to keep going. And you're doing it with love, you're doing it shining like bright light. And it is giving me like total inspiration. And I believe it will do the same for those who get to beam in with us today. I want to again say thank you, thank you, thank you. Asante Sana, thank you very much. Peace and much love to you and to yours. Until we get a chance to do more of this, because I believe this will also help heal our people and our land.